I want to welcome those of you who just saw Miami win. This is Georgia Tech and LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN. As soon as you tune in, drains the three, taking on Notre Dame in a crucial matchup. Pam Ward along with Stephanie White. Both teams fighting to get in that top four in the ACC standings. Having the double bye in the ACC tournament is key. Both of these teams really jockeying for position. Notre Dame has only lost once in this series. It was in South Bend last season. So Georgia Tech has never beaten them on their home floor. Kubai has it blocked. Well, that's Maya Dotson inside. If she's not blocking shots, she's affecting shots. Sarah Bates knocking the ball out of bounds. And this is a good sign right here. Yes. If you're a Tech fan, Digna Stratmana is in the game. Has missed the last few games, has not been able to play, and it really does affect Georgia Tech. The ability to stretch the floor offensively, to score buckets, and her length and size defensively. Yeah, at 6'2", Bates had been starting for her at 5'9". Ball deflected. Here comes Kubai, her brother in the building tonight. Yes. LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN's parents are here, came in early before senior night. Kubai from Italy, the Lahtinens from Helsinki. That's in Finland. There's Stratmana. Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, just it's the capital. Here's Lahtinen. Shot clock now at 5. Hermosa, that's a good spot for her, but a little bit too strong. Dotson was such a force. Maya Dotson at 6'3". She's a Georgia kid. Grew up about 45 minutes away from campus. There's a lot of people here to see her. She said has finally, for the first time, gotten to have a home game in the state of Georgia. Yes. Part of what they missed. Yeah, that is really big for Georgia Tech to have Stratmana on the floor, to be able to put some points on the board. Again, this is a team who is struggling at times on the offensive end of the floor. They lock you down on the defensive end, but they need more production. Stratmana's second best as far as hitting threes per game for Georgia Tech, who now lead it by 4. Miles hits the deck because she was fouled. First time out in Atlanta. Tech so far doubling up the Irish. For a Notre Dame team that has gotten much better as the season has progressed and as Maya Dotson has progressed. Already with a couple of blocks in this game. This is a great matchup against Hermosa. They get her for taking steps, however, that time. Maya Dotson yesterday turned 23 years of age. There's Niele Ivey. Won a national championship in 2001 in her hometown of St. Louis as the starting point guard for the Irish, and also won one as an assistant coach a couple of years ago. But the Dotson family from Alpharetta on hand to see their daughter. Sam Burnell into the game, and you will notice that Sam has her right shoulder in a brace. And she hurt it in their last game against Louisville, was able to take part in shoot-around today. Told us right before the game she's a little sore. Yeah, a little sore, but certainly need to have her on the floor. I mean, neither one of these teams has much depth, and Notre Dame needing another body on the floor. And Sam Burnell has been terrific for them this season. Kubai has yet to hit a shot in this game. The same for Hermosa, the big 1-2 punch down low for Tech. And Pam, that's something for us to keep an eye on, because Maya Dotson, if she doesn't block a shot, she certainly affects the shot. And she told us, for the first time since my freshman year, I've been able to play double-digit games, right? She hasn't played this many games. She's confident. She's healthy. And boy, is she leading this Irish squad. Yeah, playing and starting in all 25 games. And her numbers have gone up in the second half of the season. Stratmana also playing today. She had missed the last couple of games for Georgia Tech with an undisclosed injury. Number 45 in white. Dotson right to Hermosa. Are you kidding me? I mean, every time down the floor, give her the basketball. You see her numbers right there, but that's just a terrific one-on-one move, using her quickness to get around the defender. Coming over from Stanford, opted out, did not play last year, but Notre Dame was her other finalist before she committed to Tara Vanderveer. And this is what Notre Dame wants to do. Mabry just keeps on shooting. 2 of the last 3 games, Mabry was scoreless. But shooters shoot. Shooters shoot. And it's in the Mabry blood to shoot. Never lacking for confidence, nor should they be, the New Jersey kids. Hermosa, still no points for the big two, Kubai and Hermosa.
Yeah, and you just see Dotson's affecting shots. Every time Kubai has been fading away, Hermosa hasn't gotten a clean look.
Citron, the super freshman, goes across court to Anaya Peoples. Here's Dotson again. Kubai gets the miss. As you mentioned, both teams with very short benches.
Ooh, missed an opportunity to get Hermosa the ball on that dive.
Goes over the backboard. Strutman up.
I mean, just watch this move. Anytime she shows you her numbers, you got to give her the ball. Just sweeping right through, finishing on the other side. I mean, Pam, she was averaging less than 10 points a game, shooting at 38% from the floor the first 12 games of the season, and has really just exploded offensively and defensively. 20-10 in that upset of NC State.
Shooting over 53% from the floor in her last 13 games. She's finally starting to feel comfortable. Olivia Miles.
How smooth is she?
Pretty darn smooth.
Isn't she?
And here's the takeaway. More smoothosity from Olivia Miles.
You made that up.
Absolutely.
But I like it.
Only Caitlin Clark, great player at Iowa, is averaging more assists per game than Miles.
And boy, Olivia Miles is so flashy. Love the way that she plays. Style, flair.
Came in the second part of the season last year, an early enrollee. And we got a chance to talk to her. Very calm, very, thoughtful, like most Notre Dame kids. And you see that demeanor on the floor, which I would think for a point guard is pretty big.
Yeah, no question. And she has continued to get better. And Neil Ivey talked about that, like just seeing her grow right before her eyes.
And Kubai upset that a foul wasn't called. We're inside a minute in this first quarter. Low scoring, not surprising with these two teams. Brunel wants it and puts it up lefty with the good shoulder.
Hey, and that's a little turnabout is fair play. The high-low thing is what Neil Ivey was concerned about for Georgia Tech, and Notre Dame executing it to perfection.
Georgia Tech shooting 19% from the floor in this first quarter. Lahtinen ups it a little bit.
It was a really good cut by LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN. And this is the time when Maya Dotson's not on the floor to attack in the paint.
Shot clock is off. Brunel gives it right back to Miles, who couldn't handle it. And now a chance for Tech to finish the quarter on a high note. Love. Good closeout there by Maddie Westbeld. And she puts it in at the buzzer. So Maddie Westbeld makes the defensive play, chucks it up, and it goes in.
And both coaches are going to be talking about time and score in these timeouts, right? So Notre Dame gives it up with some time. And as does Georgia Tech, taking two shots that were too quick. And Notre Dame, the beneficiary. Look at Maddie Westbeld. She understands time and score. She tossed it up there. Banks open. Play her best. She said this is the first home game she's had in her college career, and on her birthday, nonetheless, having her family in town is really an exciting time.
Yeah, she said there will be a whole lot of people from the Dotson family and some friends coming to see it. Kubai, Love, and Hermosa combined 0 for 10 in that first quarter, in which Georgia Tech only shot 22%.
And right now, Maya Dotson is not on the floor, so Georgia Tech needs to get some post-entry passes. Get the ball inside, try to give them some easier opportunities.
Westbeld, who ended the first quarter with a half-court bank shot, missed but got the rebound. Citron running in to Kubai, who drew the charge. Lola Kubai, last year the co-defensive player of the year in the league.
Well, she just does so many little things. Taking charges, directing traffic on the defensive end of the floor, leading with her energy.
And how about leading them in assists as well? for a 6'4" post player, leads the ACC in assist-to-turnover ratio. They get a quick double over on her. Stratman, now she needs to start hitting from out there, right, to loosen things up a bit.
She heard you. That was really a good look for Stratman. You know, having her on the floor is so important for Georgia Tech. Her ability to stretch the defense, use her length on the defensive end of the floor.
And as poorly as they shot, they're only down by 4. Citron might have gotten away with a carry. Lahtinen. Sarah Bates with the ball, the only American on the floor right now for Georgia Tech, a very international squad.
That diagonal seal is going to be open right there.
That's Bates. That's why she's on the floor, right?
Yep.
Mel Fortner, the head coach, saying that she's not going to shoot that. She's not going to be on the floor. She's a three-point specialist, but Westbeld finishes. Notre Dame doing well in the paint so far tonight. Plus 12. And you would not expect that, right? With Kubai and Hermosa, who just kicked it. Figuratively speaking. Dotson back in the game. Hermosa stood her up. Lahtinen looking over at Coach Nell Fortner. She calls Lahtinen the initiator of the offense, not really a point guard. Long three for Stratman. That one was off the back of the iron. Another rebound for Dotson. And Peoples, there's the trail three for Citron. That was a turnover thanks to Peoples, who got her hand in the passing lane. Miles, nothing doing, but then a whistle.
Having Digna Stratman back on the floor for Georgia Tech is huge. You see her knocking down the three, stretching the defense. And in transition, Olivia Miles always has her head up. So if you are running the floor, she will find you, and Maddie Westbeld gets the easy two.
Picking up her first personal foul and the last whistle for Tech. Mabry underneath. Kubai knocked it away. 3 seconds to shoot for the Irish. Sarah Mabry, the Virginia Tech transfer, the third Mabry sister to play at Notre Dame. Dotson, that was perfectly executed except for the finish. Dotson at 6'3", great vertical. And this is not a recipe for success.
Well, the tendency when you're playing a team that plays zone like Notre Dame is to shoot perimeter shots. They have not been able to get anything going on the interior. Notre Dame is trapping every short corner entry. If you can get it to the short corner and then hit a post dive quickly, that's one way that Georgia Tech can get some easy looks.
Georgia Tech also very loose with the basketball, which is not the way they usually play. A game against Duke in which they turned it over 4 times, which is a program record. Stratman getting down on the floor with Dotson. Possession arrow keeps it with the Irish. Now 17 seconds to shoot. Miles looking to get it in. Mabry runs by it. Westbeld doesn't get the bounce that time, but Peoples was in perfect position to get the follow.
That was a really great read by Anaya Peoples. I mean, she started on the perimeter. She pursued the offensive rebound. Notre Dame's 5th in the league in offensive rebounding at just over 13 a ball game. Again, getting multiple possessions.
Peoples not relied on for her scoring, more of a defensive presence, but able to clean it up. Shot clock into single digits again. Bates wants it. Kubai. A little bit too strong on the three, and Dotson comes up with another one.
And again, everything on the perimeter for Georgia Tech, not finding any ways to attack that zone.
Westbeld working on Kubai. Yes, and a foul. And Maddie Westbeld.
Was that a smile? You don't usually see a smile from Maddie Westbeld. Good job of using her body, getting inside. High off the glass, so Kubai can't get a touch. You know, Maddie Westbeld's numbers have been a little bit down in conference play, and the reason is because other players are stepping up, right? She had to do a lot and carry this team last year. Now there are more pieces around her that are helping on the offensive end.
And the frustration just continuing for Georgia Tech. Nothing but white jerseys under there, and they still couldn't get the rebound.
And it's tough for Georgia Tech when you get down double digits because they don't score easily or quickly. So they've got to find a way to lock down on the defensive end of the floor and chip away.
People's great patience, right, to let two defenders go by her.
And Anaya Peoples has really found a good role coming off the bench. Sonia Citron inserted into the starting lineup. Peoples can come in, be a defensive stopper, get a couple of buckets here and there, give this team a boost of energy.
Finally, they try to get it inside, but it's too tall for Hermosa. Timeout in Atlanta.
One word.
I want to.
Notre Dame early in this ball game, and take a look at these numbers right here. Peoples, Dotson, and Westbeld outscoring Georgia Tech as a whole.
And only LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN and Digna Stratmana have scored at all for Georgia Tech. Kubai, Hermosa, and Love, the other starters, combined 0 for 11 from the floor. And look at the paint points. You mentioned it, but gosh, it really jumps out.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech has really struggled on the defensive end of the floor in the last couple of games. They have been the most dominant team defensively in the ACC. And Maya Dotson, another second chance opportunity. But you look at these numbers, first 25 games, what they were doing to opponents and what has happened the last two games. And Pam, this game is trending the direction of the 78 points per game.
Yep, last couple of games, an overtime win over Clemson, and they lost at Virginia Tech. Not an easy place to play. Good to see the Hokies finally ranked. Maya Dotson with her third block tonight. Westbeld left open. Georgia Tech got away.
Well, Nate Fortner talked to us about the fact that, you know, they kind of got away from the basics on the defensive end of the floor and really had to get back to that in practice this week.
Finally, a chance for Hermosa to score. She's their leading scorer, averaging 11.5 points per game, 24th in the ACC, which shows you how offensively challenged they are. Only Virginia and Pitt score fewer points per game than Tech. Speaking of Virginia, they're beating Duke right now. Trying to get a win in the conference. Here's Hermosa, known as Nettie, from Vitoria, Spain.
Nell Fortner and her staff are really excited because Nettie Hermosa is going to stay in the States and train this summer. Really be the first summer that they've had to work on her skill set, to work on her body, get her ACC ready. And you have to pick up Olivia Miles in transition. You cannot allow her to get a full head of steam and get to the rim. It's just too easy.
Miles had a triple-double earlier this season on the midseason Naismith list for Player of the Year. Lahtinen left open. Still scoreless. We're still stuck on 7 points, for Lahtinen. Oh, Miles able to keep that foot down. Dotson. Blocked by Hermosa, and then fouled by Stratmana.
Miles is so fast in transition. She gets the ball and she pushes. She has her head up. Look at this. Who can I pass to? Who can I pass to? Okay, nobody's stopping me. I'm going to get to the rim. You know, Pam, her savvy, her IQ, her demeanor. You know, she plays much more mature, like she has much more experience than she does. You see her numbers right there. I mean, It's incredible what she's been able to do. She says, I feel more comfortable and confident on the floor this year. I know I have the ball in my hands. I have a much bigger role, and she's improved on her leadership as the season has progressed.
16-point lead for the Irish. And you're going to get Mabry for a foul. First one on Dara. Big sister Michaela is an assistant coach. Very fine coaching staff for Niele Ivey, Coquise Washington, Carol Owens. Kubai still looking for her first points. Strotman kept it alive. Kubai still.
Even the second opportunity, it's rushed because they're feeling Maya Dotson's presence.
Brunel left open. Kubai continuing to board well. Her 9th of the game. And, pardon me, let's correct that, 10th of the game. So 10 rebounds already for Kubai, but no points. Love, tough shot, got it. Coming off a career-high 26 in the overtime win against Clemson. Clemson was shooting the lights out in that game.
They sure did.
Washington,
55% from the floor. Lisa Washington, 40 points.
Miles just bowled her way into a double team and is called for the charge.
Lily Love is really the only Georgia Tech player who can get to the basket off the bounce. I mean, she is so good right there. A nice job of attacking Dodson. And then on the other end, who else? Lorella Kubai in the right spot. Last year's Defensive Player of the Year, taking the charge.
Very emotional, and head coach Nell Fortner has talked about how she's learned over the years to channel those emotions into positive things, not take her out of situations.
Missed that dive. You see Lily Love right down the middle. Every time the ball goes to the short corner, there's a trap. That's a missed opportunity for Georgia Tech.
Lahtinen knocking down the shot. Dotson, short, great hustle by Citron. Boy, Dotson everywhere on the boards, but couldn't handle it. It's Georgia Tech basketball.
The activity level of Notre Dame on both ends of the floor has been far superior to Georgia Tech.
Tech shooting just 25%. Hermosa and Kubai have yet to hit field goals. Now Lahtinen at the free throw line. ACC Network has another full day of women's basketball Sunday. Number 23, Virginia Tech, going to take on number 3, Louisville. We'll be in town for that one. And then 2 Eastern right after Wake Forest to Boston College. Check it out on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. The Hokies with Liz Kitley. Asia Shepard now has the most threes in the history of the conference, passing the wonderful Asia Durr. So that should be a fun one.
Yes, Louisville coming off of the upset by North Carolina. Virginia Tech in the top 25.
Here's Kubai.
We've been lobbying for Virginia Tech to get in the top 25.
Only all year.
Only all season, right.
Things starting really to come together. Gosh, another giveaway. Miles is going to come back into the game, but Niele Ivey tells her to sit down, and Olivia just calmly sits down. Here's Citron, the true freshman. Got to be freshman of the year, right? She's won all the freshman of the weeks, most of them.
Oh, good look.
Mabry, Love, able to get in front of her. They're not going to get a shot off.
So that's 2 possessions, end of quarter, first quarter, end of second quarter. The ball is in 2 young players' hands. Really good teaching moments for Niele Ivey and her staff to talk about these time and score situations.
Strotman gonna heave it. Notre Dame holding Georgia Tech to
the way that they have been able to defend opponents. And the first half, Notre Dame picked them apart. Notre Dame dictated pace. Can Georgia Tech establish the tempo that they want in the second half?
Got to get something going on offense. Kubai, there she is with the ball in her hands, getting it over now to Bates, who has been starting for Strotman. As Strotman is available, missed the last couple of games with an injury, is coming off the bench. Hermosa, boy, Dotson has just bottled her up, and they're going to get Westfeld for a foul on Love.
Playing for over half the shot clock. Georgia Tech was back in the logo. And it's very difficult to give Nerea Hermosa the ball and to go one-on-one against Maya Dotson. Georgia Tech has to find some more movement to get that zone to shift. You have to find ways to attack that bring Dotson away from the block.
Yeah, that was part of the strategy at shoot-around. Cornell Fortner, as Love gets 1 out of 2. Try to draw Dotson away, but she has been dominating in there against a couple of good post players in Hermosa and Kubai.
Yeah, that's not going to happen if you're passing the ball around the perimeter. You have to either get it off the bounce and draw her, get it to the short corner to draw her, or to the high post.
Love and Citron both with heavy falls got up quickly. And the shot clock, the shot clock issue right now, I believe. Do a little bit of mopping up as well. Guilani Spurlock-Welsh, Edward Sedlasky, and Katie Lukanich are officials this evening in Atlanta. Citron trying to get it inside. Good play by Love. Citron in the starting lineup, averaging 11.5 points per game on the season. And he has 2 points tonight for the Irish.
Got a mismatch. That wasn't the one I was talking about, no, but it worked.
It worked out for Olivia Miles, had 4 points in the first half. Gets the lead back up to a dozen. Very important game. Both teams with identical records in the ACC, trying to get into that top 4 slot, get the double bye in the ACC tournament. Shot clock winding down. Hermosa. Mabry, tightrope walking, is able to save it. Miles just hit a 3. This time she goes inside to Westfeld, guarded by Kubai. She just turned, shot, missed. Bates spotting up. That's what she does.
And that was a really good job by LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN to recognize they had a 2-on-1 opportunity in transition. So she drew the defender and then found Sarah Bates for the open 3.
89% of her shots this year for Bates are threes. Put that in. Dotson on the miss. Here's Love. Lahtinen. Got it! Well, Georgia Tech hitting a couple of threes back to back. And the lead is only 6. Had trailed by as many as 16 in the second quarter. Westfeld with the shot clock winding into single digits. Miles has to figure something out. Laid it off for Dotson. Just got it off in time. Didn't fall. Rebound Love. Miles took it away from her. Frantic action in this game. Miles pulls it, hits it.
And Pam, those are some of those plays that if you're Neil Ivey, you know, you live with some of that with Olivia Miles, because she can make things happen. And sometimes it's high risk, high reward, but it's a lot more reward than risk. And Sarah Bates nails another one.
From the other corner, 3 ball starting to fall for Bates. Absolutely. only made, well, they are 6 of 14 rather from 3 for the game, and they've only made 10. So 60% of their makes have come from 3. And here they go on the turnover. I mean, that's the good news. The bad news is Kubai and Hermosa are still looking for their first field goals. Bates a little bit too long that time. They want to get it up for Mabry as her hand up. She wants to knock down a 3. Miles has it go in and out. Kubai, double-digit rebounding game again. One of the best in the country in rebounding, number 13 in white. Love, difficult.
That's where you got the drop off. You know, you're driving it in there, you get outside, Citron with a nice finish in transition, but you get Maya Dotson to commit to you, drop it off.
Hermosa not even looking to score. Love,
same thing. That, you know, she gets to the foul line, but it doesn't have to be that difficult. As soon as you get the rotation from Maya Dotson, a quick bounce pass to Nerea Hermosa, and she gets a layup.
Hermosa 0 for 5 from the floor. Kubai 0 for 7. Aaliyah Love 1 for 2 from the line so far tonight. Lily 1 of 2 again on that trip. Poked away by Love. Response by Citron. Love wreaking havoc over there.
Good activity level.
Miles says it was tipped. And the officials looking at each other as we hit a timeout. Georgia Tech mounting the comeback. Tasha Butts, the assistant coach for Georgia Tech, honored at halftime. We'll talk more about Tasha Tough in fighting breast cancer.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times. People who know the most valuable things in life aren't things at all.
And Nell Fortner, there's Mickey DeMoss, part of the staff here, and boy, Tasha Butts going through the treatment for breast cancer. Hermosa still has not scored a field goal, and gave a lot of credit. We talked to Coach Fortner about it, really the support that is here in Atlanta and the top quality medical care.
Yeah, there's no question, you know, that Tasha is getting quality care, and really pleased and happy and fortunate that she's in Atlanta.
And that's part of what Tasha was talking about at halftime, is that some of the people, your medical insurance might not cover some of the treatments, and that's part of the gap that the Cancer Fund is filling. It's a tremendous cause, and ESPN on board with that. Westbeld hits it, but it's always emotional when you see the survivors out there, and Tasha Butts, she is tough.
Yes, she is. And of course, we continue to encourage anyone who's able to contribute to the K.L. Cancer Fund.
All of your money goes towards cancer research, and finally, Lorella Kubai gets her first field goal of the night after missing her first 7 shots. Not just her first field goal, her first points. Does have 11 rebounds. Peoples underneath. Waiting for a top 4 slot in the ACC standings. Virginia Tech with a huge win over Syracuse tonight. In the 3 slot behind NC State. Louisville in the 2nd slot, lost to North Carolina. Back-to-back for Kubai, and she's starting to show some of that Kubai fire.
Oh yeah, that emotion that she leads this team with. And these are tough finishes. I mean, one-on-one, back to the basket against Maya Dotson.
Dotson's been brilliant. Miles shuts everybody up and looks over into the student section. I think she said anything. Smooth. Just gave him a little look.
Just so smooth.
And the poise. Here's Bates. Westbeld covers her up. Citron knocked it out. 12 seconds to shoot.
Well, Lorelai Kubai has gotten a couple of touches inside. I love this right here. Using the counter move. Maya Dotson has been blocking shots. Give her the shot fake and the step through. And then the second time, because she's used the counter, a little more hesitant from Dotson, and Kubai with the score and showing her emotion.
On the mid-year National Player of the Year list for both the Wade, the Naismith, as well as the Naismith National Defensive Player of the Year. Peoples.
And Notre Dame has been at their best when they're able to push in transition. That was a concern for Nell Fortner. When you take those long shots, those long threes, long rebounds, it's tough to get back in transition.
Peoples with 8. That's just 2 points off her season high in scoring. Usually a defensive stopper for the Irish. Good look at our former colleague, Nell Fortner, ACC Coach of the Year last year. Third straight 10-win season in the ACC. All 3 years with Nell. They have never done that before. Back-to-back-to-back 10 wins in the conference.
Nell's done a terrific job. And you look at this team and their lack of depth and their lack of offensive firepower, but always keep themselves in ball games because of the way that they defend.
Lahtinen with her mom and dad in the crowd putting on a show with 16 points. Dotson, by the way, just picked up her 3rd foul for the Irish. Brunel comes in. Sam playing with that bum shoulder that she heard in their last game.
Well, now's the time for Georgia Tech to pound it inside with no Maya Dotson on the floor.
Brunel passed up the 3 for the 2. Brunel, the junior from Ruckersville, Virginia.
Well, it's really impressive, the work that Sam Brunel has put in. I mean, from a season ago, gotten herself back in shape, playing confident basketball, worked on her game.
You know, playing with a couple of bad knees, gained some weight, and has dropped that plus. So she's in the best shape of her life. Lahtinen with the left hand.
She's been so impressive offensively here today. I mean, there are games where she's able to contribute offensively in other ways. 12 assists against Clemson, but today she's filling it up, and Georgia Tech has needed every bit of it.
Yeah, the 12 assists against Clemson, their last game in overtime, a win. 12 assists, a new career high for Lahtinen. But only 8 points tonight. She's got 18. Stratmana off the back iron. Here's Peoples. As the shot clock is off now. 9 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Miles takes it right to Kubai. Citron. Not the prettiest of plays, but it works.
No, but it was a great find.
Yep. Yeah. Took another visit to Notre Dame. Really clicked with Coach Neil Ivey.
Yep.
Called Sonia and said, I'm going. And Sonia said, okay. As soon as I hang up, I'm calling Coach Ivey myself.
Yeah, it really was an interesting to hear the perspective of Olivia Miles, and a really cool story of those two and their friendship and wanting to play together, and the timing of how it happened. Olivia Miles said Notre Dame really wasn't on her list, but she really clicked with Neil Ivey, and when Neil got the job, then it was obvious.
Both of them, as Kubai continues her renaissance here in the second half, both of them also looking at places like Stanford, both of them terrific student athletes. And the scary thing is, they're just freshmen.
Yeah, right.
This is year 1 of 4 they'll be together.
Yes, scary for everybody in the ACC for sure.
Really Love. Oh, that's a really chancy pass to Stratmana. Kubai after a slow start coming on.
Yeah, and getting Kubai the basketball, especially on the interior right now with no Maya Dotson, is going to be important. And She's had these slow starts. You know, she had 22 against Clemson in the last game, but 11 came in overtime, and they need her to establish herself offensively early and consistently in ball games.
Yeah, 11 points in the 5 minutes of the overtime, and that win against Clemson, the Irish turn it over again. That trailed by 16 in the second quarter. Stratman fouled, and Dotson's going to come right back in and play with 3 fouls.
Well, you have to trust, you know, your senior at this point. So she's a graduate. She's been there to come in and defend, be smart, be a presence.
Citron just picked up her second personal foul. Stratman heading to the line. First time tonight. And sure, it's cold outside, but you know what? It's softball season. The St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational showcases 16 softball teams with 40 games across the networks. Saturday on the ACC network, it's Michigan and number 6 Florida State at 1 Eastern. All the games streamed live on the ESPN app. Lonnie Alameda, the tremendous coach down at Florida State, has a championship taking on Michigan.
Is it cold in St. Pete?
I would say it's warmer than it is here.
I would say that's probably accurate.
Yeah, Miles just coming back into the game and cool as can be, hits the shot. Kubai with Dotson back in the game, a different kind of challenge. Lowers the shoulder, can't get it off the glass, but Stratman with the second opportunity. Diggy, as they call her.
Yeah, Georgia Tech really missed Diggy's size inside as Mabry, who you had mentioned has really struggled from the floor over the last few games, knocks down a big one there.
Yeah, that is her first points of the game. 2 of the last 3 against Florida State and Louisville. She was a combined 0 for 16, 0 for 10 from distance. Goose eggs. Oh, Kubai. And that's foul number 4 on Dotson.
Kubai is using her counters. So she's doing a really good job of not fading away, of using her shot clock, going to a counter move, which keeps Maya Dotson a little bit off balance. And right here just comes down trying to block the shot. And not good for Notre Dame for Maya Dotson to pick up her 4th foul.
Georgia Tech with the timeout. Down to Notre Dame. Both teams right now tied for 4th, trying to get that double bye in the ACC tournament. Charlie Cream says Notre Dame will fall to a 5 seed with a loss, which means they would not host in the 1st and 2nd round. Georgia Tech has never beaten Notre Dame here. They've only beaten them once overall. But a lot on the line in this game. Notre Dame up by 8.
And Pam, Georgia Tech really hurts themselves at the foul line. You know, they've lost ball games this year at the foul line. Had opportunity to beat Clemson in regulation, missed opportunities at the foul line, and when you're trying to come back as Dara Mabry starts to heat up, when you're trying to come back against an opponent like this, every free throw matters. It always matters, but particularly right now.
Yes, they are 3rd worst in the ACC in free throws. Sarah Bates.
Really good job by Georgia Tech of having LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN and Sarah Bates on the same side of the floor, forcing the defense to choose who you're going to close out to.
And forcing the turnover.
I mean, it's a 2-on-1 in the backside of this zone right here, and LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN has shot it very well, so Sonia Citron is like, who do I go to? Yep. Good extra pass.
Remember, Dotson out of the game, so it's Westfeld who's dealing with Kubai.
Nice. Nice. I mean, that's just really great execution. Really good execution. Notre Dame's going to have to make an adjustment when all the shooters are on the ball side.
3rd 3 of the night for Lahtinen, who has tied her season high with 21 points. Miles with the shot clock winding down. Brunel popping out for a 3. Good box out. Now a chance to make it a 1-possession game for Georgia Tech. Only shot 25% in the first half from the floor, down 16 at one point. Kubai wants it. Westfeld with the block.
Good defense by Maddie Westfeld.
Miles with the bounce pass. It's intercepted by Lahtinen. Now Lahtinen with the scoop, just left it short. Mabry on the run. Miles, bounce back, behind her back to Mabry. Ball goes back to Tech.
Georgia Tech's found their rhythm against the zone. Great extra pass by Gigi Strautmane. LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN knocks it home. Boy, Pam, it's been a great sight for Nell Fortner to see LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN get going offensively.
And boy, have they needed her with Hermosa coming back in the game now. Nerea, their leading scorer, 11.5 points per game, has 1 point. Number 20, now working against Westfeld. Kubai gets a very rare rest. Brunel with the foul on the baseline.
That was a little bit of a bailout right there. I'm not exactly sure what Lily Love would have done with the basketball. But what Georgia Tech is doing much better than they did in the first half is finding ways to attack the zone. They're getting the ball inside. It's getting back outside. They're moving before the defense shifts. First half, it was lane line to lane line for 25 seconds of the shot clock.
And it gets them both. Coming off a career-high 26 against Clemson, the 5th time this year. She's set a new career high in scoring. Mabry. Citron, big putback. Yeah, Citron listed at 6'1", and first time I've seen her in person, she really has good size.
Yeah, she does. She does, and it's, I mean, 6-time ACC Freshman of the Week. She does so many little things. She can score the basketball. You see, terrific rebounder.
Got there a little late on Bates.
But boy, they've been picking on her on the backside of that zone. She's had to try to cover multiple players each possession.
4th 3 of the game for Bates. It's a 1-point ball game. Strautmane.
Great hustle. Great hustle. I love it, Pam. Sarah Bates gets another 3. She's been shooting it so well the last 3 ball games, and you can see the emotion. But Pam, this hustle play down here to save the possession by Maddie Westfeld, getting on the floor, giving Notre Dame another opportunity.
Dotson back in with playing with 4 fouls for Notre Dame. Foul on Strautmane as Westfeld tried to attack the rim. Now Kubai comes in for Strautmane with Dotson back in the game. Westfeld with 9 points and 7 rebounds. Make it 10 points now and 7 rebounds. Goes 1 for 2. Kubai just back into the game. Kubai 2 points away from another double-double. Would be her 11th of the season. Will she get it here? Nope. Johnson coming over to help Westfeld. Finds Lahtinen, who missed it. Miles. Inside 10 seconds on the shot clock. Miles has to put up the 3, a little bit too strong, but another offensive rebound. This time Mabry chased it down.
Extra possessions, 50-50 balls, hustle plays, offensive rebounds. Every one of them matters.
Westfeld Georgia Tech, as we hit 3 minutes to go, can tie or go ahead.
I like that horns action. Really got a good look in the high-low.
It's knocked out of bounds. Georgia Tech has
Oh my. Dodged one right there. I don't know how Sarah Bates was that open.
Georgia Tech has not led in this game since the first quarter. They got away with one there. Bates has been deadly from 3. Love called for the foul. Notre Dame has missed 6 of its last 7 shots. Clinging to a 2-point lead.
Brush screen.
Shot clock dying. They need Miles. Wide left. Kubai board.
If we held on to it for just a second longer, Maya Dotson was open. Sometimes you get a little antsy on the perimeter and don't wait quite long enough to see that post entry.
2 minutes to go. Tech has gone over 2.5 minutes without scoring. Kubai, big move, misses. Miles can't handle it. It's Tech basketball.
So Lorella Kubai using that little hook shot right here. I think Olivia Miles wanted to try to get that and go the other direction, but it stays Georgia Tech basketball.
Miles out, Peoples back in. There she is guarding Lahtinen. That's a foul on Peoples. First. That's Notre Dame foul. Will put Georgia Tech on the free throw line. Love takes it right to Citron.
The difference in that take, Lily Love on balance, 2 feet, able to finish at the rim.
Tie ball game.
You see those numbers, 39 points in the second half. Much better activity level and movement, player and ball movement on the offensive end.
Georgia Tech has hit 6 threes in this half. Miles driving on Hermosa. Mabry open for a second out there on the perimeter. Miles trying to step back. Kubai, good defense. Hermosa with the takeaway. A minute to go. Looks like most of the people here at McCamish Pavilion are on their feet. Very exciting ending. After it was looking pretty dire for the home team early. Big block by Westbeld.
Great defensive play by Maddie Westbeld. Defending without fouling, staying disciplined, and now Notre Dame needs a really good offensive possession. Find a way to get 2 feet in the paint.
Notre Dame's gone 3.5 minutes without a point. Here's Dotson. Big. Maya Dotson with her first. Shot clock is off. Kubai gets it right back to Lahtinen. We needed 2 to tie, a 3 to go ahead. Lahtinen on the switch, Westbeld.
Yeah, there's a nice take.
So Lahtinen with the new season high in scoring. And Notre Dame takes the timeout. What an offensive effort for Lahtinen tonight.
She's been terrific. I mean, she has, like we said earlier, she was the sole source of offense in the first half, but she has had complete control of the game with her pace, with her tempo in this second half. What a hesitation. I mean, could have backed it out and looked at Lorella Kubai, but good heads-up play and strong finish by LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINEN.
Notre Dame now down just to one timeout. Again, Lahtinen from Helsinki, Finland. Her parents are in attendance, coming over early, as did Lorella Kubai's brother for senior night, which is upcoming. But what do we think the Irish have up their sleeve right now?
Well, I'd give the ball to Maya Dotson, you know, or I'd put her in a two-man with Olivia Miles. But right now, if you're Notre Dame, you want to get the last shot. You either want to score to win or go into overtime, one of the two. Just you don't want to give Georgia Tech an opportunity to get the ball with time left on the clock.
Citron, the freshman, gets it over to Miles, her buddy. Knocked by Lahtinen. Remember, they had a couple of fouls to give. That takes a couple of seconds off the clock. Boy, just the first foul on Lahtinen, playing such a clean game. Guarding Miles, got physical, and a timeout taken by Niele Ivey. Miles upset that a foul wasn't called.
Well, and this is part of her growth process, right? You know, the maturation, the being able to play quick but not be in a hurry, handling time and score situations. And you see really trying to make a play going one-on-one with LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINen. And as you mentioned, upset because there wasn't a foul call. But again, I mean, she is such a dynamic player.
And Niele Ivey just reminded Sonia Citron that we don't have any more timeouts, so please don't call one. That was dribbled off of Miles' foot. Georgia Tech does have a timeout,
but they passed the ball right there. You know, it wasn't a rebound. You passed the ball, so they're going to take it in the backcourt. The ball's going to be inbounded in the backcourt. There's no opportunity to advance on the steal and the pass. Just a great three.
At three-quarters court, there's just 1.8 left to go.
If you're Maya Dotson, you want to be over here so that they can't throw it that way.
Kubai gets it in. Lahtinen threw it up, not enough time. And we are going to overtime, tied up at 61.
Feel stuck with your finances? Move your money to SoFi and feel what it's like to get your money right.
I jump up on the stage and do my money dance. I throw some money out and watch the money land. I do my money dance. I do my money dance. Jump up on the stage and do my money dance.
Move your money to SoFi and earn up to 1% APY when you sign up for SoFi Checking and Savings.
Welcome to Overtime, presented by SoFi here in Atlanta. We're going to take a look at our net gains tonight, brought to you by SoFi, getting to this tie ball game. Net gains brought to you by SoFi. What do you got, Steph White?
Oh, Maya Dotson was going to work. I mean, just really doing a good job on the interior. But LOTTA-MAJ LAHTINen, terrific for Georgia Tech all night long. Didn't quite get that one to go, but has certainly carried this team offensively, has played with great pace. And fortunately for her, multiple players have gotten involved in the second half.
So Georgia Tech down by as many as 16 with 3 minutes left to go in the first half. Tied up with Notre Dame, even though their leading scorer, Nerea Hermosa, has 1 point. Good, loud crowd on hand at McCamish Pavilion tonight in Midtown Atlanta. Starters back on the floor for both squads. Kubai, good look and the miss. Here's Mabry. 2-on-1, dishes it to Miles, waited for Lahtinen to go by.
Yeah, good decision by Mabry in transition. Forces the defense to commit.
Love, a little bit too strong. Kubai could not come down with the rebound. Morella Kubai with 8 points and 13 boards tonight. Peoples coming in for Miles, who continues to kind of favor her right elbow that she landed on late in regulation. She's being looked at by the trainer. Notre Dame is out there, floor leader out there. A minute into overtime. Mabry. Westbeld, good catch by Dotson, but she had it blocked. Got the follow-up as the shot clock was expiring.
And it looked like a foul was called underneath, and probably gonna see if that was called before the shot. Look at her just go up and get that ball, though. I mean, that was an incredible catch.
Play is under review.
So the official's going to take a look at it. Maya Dotson with 9 of her 11 points in the first half. Does have another double-double. Now 7 double-doubles on the season, all in her last 11 games.
Still playing with 4 fouls.
Yep.
So has to be smart on the defensive end of the floor. But she's been terrific inside for Notre Dame. I would continue to get her touches when you can, but this was just a heck of a catch. Right here, she goes up, gets blocked, keeps it alive.
So the officials went to the monitor to see if the foul happened prior to the shot clock violation. What'd they see?
They saw that the foul happened with 1 second on the shot clock right here, and so she will be shooting her 2 shots. And you know, I like the fact that the officials can go back and make sure that they get this right.
Lahtinen, pardon me, picked up her 2nd foul. Here's Dotson at the line, 1 of 2 tonight. Just 63% on the season. Turned 23 yesterday. She says she's called many things by her teammates. She even got one great grandma. Not just grandma. Oh man, 0 for 2. Kubai, another big board.
Notre Dame goes back to the zone here in overtime. Oh, that dive is open.
Bates, nowhere to go. Dotson with the takeaway. Georgia Tech has not scored in this overtime. Notre Dame with just 2 points. Westbeld to Mabry. Shot clock is dying. Mabry's going to have to shoot it. And does, with the shot clock expiring. Dara Mabry nails it.
And that was really good poise by Mabry. She got the ball back with 5 seconds left. Didn't rush, allowed the on-ball screen to come, used it perfectly. Nice pass.
Oh,
good. Yes. Pam, that's been there. It's been the short corner pass. That has been there. That is the first time Georgia Tech's been able to take advantage.
And also the first field goal for Nerea Hermosa, their leading scorer on the season. Peoples in there with Miles still on the bench for the Irish. Mabry again. Citron gets it to Dotson, and they somehow get it out of trouble.
And see, this is the difference in the experience right here of Dara Mabry. Understanding clock management, time and score.
Westbeld, cupped out. Citron had it taken away momentarily. Peoples hunts it down.
Boy, we've been talking about it all night, haven't we? Offensive rebounds, hustle plays. Notre Dame getting the 50-50 balls, crashing the glass.
Another single-digit shot clock for the Irish. Mabry got it! And was fouled.
You see Mabry's face right there. Shot clock was winding down. Does a good job of getting inside. The foul by Lahtinen, and Neil Ivey is loving it.
Yeah, Darren Mabry's face really showed it all.
And she needed this game. You know, she needed to see the ball go through the net. She's made big plays at crunch time. Neil Ivey going with the experience of Darren Mabry at that lead guard position. And she is delivering.
All 10 of her points coming in the second half. And now Tech needs to score. Foul called on Miles. Her second.
She's got to be smarter, really, in this situation now. I mean, play good defense with that. There's no reason to take a chance in this situation. Move your feet, keep the ball in front of you, force Georgia Tech to use the clock.
Free throw shooting has been a problem all season long for Tech. Just 9 of 15, that's 60% in this game, but it's still a 2-possession ball game. As we approach a minute to go in overtime. Dotson posted up hard against Hermosa, got it blocked. And a foul call. Third on Citron. Neil Ivey, who was a tremendous national championship point guard for the Irish, having a conversation with her puppy.
Yeah, and of course, Neil Ivey with her point guard mentality, talking to Olivia Miles, and every moment's a teaching moment. Every moment's a teaching moment, and 2 possessions in a row, Georgia Tech an opportunity to score with no time running off the clock.
Timeout on the floor. We'll be right back to Atlanta. Kubai at the free throw line. Getting 1 out of 2. 2 out of 3 for the game, getting them both on that trip.
Right now, important for Georgia Tech. Good defensive possession. You can call a timeout on a rebound, and for Notre Dame, get a good, high-quality shot.
With 8 seconds left on the shot clock, there's a foul out on the perimeter.
Gosh, Pam, how many times have we seen this, right? You know, of course, when you go back and watch the film, you can show all these moments, but being disciplined on the defensive end of the floor, understanding situational basketball, you don't have to take chances. You just have to play good position defense and do your job.
He really loves fouls, sends Miles to the line where she, as always, is very calm. Hits them both, and now she comes out. The timeout actually taken by Georgia Tech. It's a 4-point advantage, just 24 seconds left.
Notre Dame is in the top 16, which means they would host at home.
Did not make the tournament last year, breaking a long string. Lahtinen short. Westbeld grabs it, and Notre Dame, well, you have to give a lot of credit to Darren Mabry for her work here in the overtime period.
Yeah, she's been terrific. She has controlled the pace and the tempo. She's executed offense. Multiple players have gotten touches, and Pam, she stepped up big, scoring all of her points in the second half in overtime. Finally seeing the ball go through the bottom of the net.
Unfortunately for Georgia Tech, this is continuing a pattern. They have had some heartbreaking losses this season. You go, hey, they're 19-6, they're, having a good season, but gosh, they had Louisville on the ropes, let that one get away.
Purdue lost on a last-second shot.
The first 4 losses were brought by a grand total of 12 points, and took Notre Dame to overtime after falling behind by 16 in the first half. But this is a gutty performance for the Irish.
Yeah, it is. Coming on the road in a tough environment, getting production from multiple people, executing a game plan.
It is a happy homecoming for Maya Dotson.
Yeah.
Foul trouble, not quite the second half she expected, but I'm sure Maya's going to be happy with the victory. A lot of her people, her friends and family coming over to see her.
And Pam, we're talking about a team that's really at its core is young, right? You got Maddie Westbeld, who's a sophomore. You got Olivia Miles and Sonia Citron, who are freshmen. Mabry and Dotson, the leaders of this team, able to withstand a run and finish the ball game.
So Notre Dame, with this win, will move into sole possession of 4th place in the ACC as they take it